Yo, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be going over the NBA slate on DraftKings and Yahoo for Thursday, January the 3rd. We just have a 3-game slate today, so it's going to be a short video, a quick video, going over this 3-game slate, talking about some of the guys I like at each position. I'll give my core of 5 plays on Yahoo and DraftKings, 5 guys I expect to have a lot of exposure to on both sites. Before we do get started though, guys, I would appreciate it if you would drop a like on the video, and if you are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below so that way you won't miss out on any of my new videos. We'll start off at point guard, work our way through. So at the top here we have James Harden at 11K. I think James Harden on a 3-game slate, a short slate, is the clear stud play today that you probably want to try and pay up for. Just without Chris Paul on the court, take Eric Gordon off the court as well. We get a massive usage rate for James Harden. He averages over like 1.6, 1.7 fantasy points per minute. It might even be higher than that. Just the last few games, we've been getting a ton of minutes out of James Harden. 41 minutes in that game against Memphis, 82 DraftKings points, 37 minutes against the Pelicans, 71 DraftKings points. Right now, this game has about an 8-point spread, so it's expected to be a close game between the Rockets and Warriors. We're going to get probably 38 to 40 minutes out of James Harden. Massive usage rate. He's probably going to get us at least 55 to 60 DraftKings points, and obviously he has upside for way more if this game stays competitive. So really hard to not like James Harden, especially at 11K. That feels way too cheap for a guy that has the kind of upside that James Harden does. Looking at the other studs on the slate, you do have Jokic in a really good spot against the Kings, but his price tag's starting to get up there a bit. He's 9,800. Curry and Durant are both 9,500 and 9,200. Kawhi, with the revenge game going back to San Antonio, is 8,800. I'm going to prioritize Harden over all those guys. I think Harden by far has the most upside out of anybody on this slate. So I'm going to be trying to pay up for Harden as much as I can on DraftKings. Same with Yahoo as well. He's expensive on Yahoo. He's $58, but on a short slate, I would feel very scared to not have exposure to James Harden. If not, like, match the field, be over the field. Because if he goes for 70, 80, and you do not have him, your night's probably going to be over. So just take the safe route, playing James Harden. If you're playing one lineup, play James Harden. If you're playing a lot of lineups, if you're MMEing, if you have like 150 lineups, I guess you could go underweight, but honestly I would feel a little bit scared going underweight on Harden. Just such a good spot without Chris Paul. He should easily pay off this price tag. But now looking at other point guards we could go to, I'm really not going to be paying up here for Curry or like De'Aaron Fox, Jamal Murray, I guess are okay plays, but not going to be guys I force into my lineups. I think at point guard, if I'm not jamming in Harden at the top, probably going to be trying to find some value. I think Austin Rivers, with the role he's playing right now, is still a good value play. Even at 4,600 on DraftKings, I do not like that price. That feels a little bit expensive to pay for Austin Rivers, but we're getting an insane amount of minutes out of Austin Rivers. He played 41 minutes in that game against Memphis, only put up 18 DraftKings points, but still we got a ton of minutes out of him. He's still pretty cheap on Yahoo. He's only $12 over here. Rivers is going to be a guy I have a lot of exposure to. I know he's not the most sexy play, especially on DraftKings with the price, but on a short slate, limited amount of options, I think Rivers is a pretty good play here. He could easily get 25 to 30 DraftKings points if this game stays competitive. He's one of the few value plays on this slate that you know is going to be locked into big minutes. So I do like Austin Rivers and Harden today. I think Rivers is a pretty good value option if you're trying to find a cheap guy, point guard or shooting guard under 5K. Malik Beasley's been playing really well lately for the Nuggets, but Gary Harris and Paul Millsap are both starting to get healthy and both have already returned. Both of them have been playing limited minutes. I would imagine they're probably going to see their minutes limit increase a little bit. With Malik Beasley at 4,900 on DraftKings, he's definitely a guy that I would probably avoid today, even though he's coming off a big game and he's been playing solid minutes lately. I don't expect him to continue playing 30 minutes, especially now that Gary Harris is getting healthy. Probably a guy I would avoid, especially if he's going to be popular. I think Bryn Forbes is a value play you could go to at point guard, especially if you don't want to play Harden, or if you don't want to play Rivers. You could definitely go to Bryn Forbes. He's 4,400. He's been getting a lot of good run lately for the Spurs. Been playing over 30 minutes a night as of late. He's cheap on DraftKings at 4,400. He's cheap on Yahoo as well over here. He is only $12 at shooting guard. Definitely going to be a guy I get exposure to on both sites. Looking at his DraftKings price though at 4,400, I think this is an okay price, not a great price, but could definitely pay off this price tag, especially with the minutes he's been playing lately. We're getting 30 to 33 minutes out of Bryn Forbes, potentially even more. He's not the most productive player, but still getting that amount of minutes on a short slate with the cheap price tag, I think does put him in play. There is a guy that I like on DraftKings a lot that's really cheap that I'm not going to put Bryn Forbes into the core plays, but I still do like him quite a bit on DraftKings at 4,400. But let's go ahead and move on to shooting guard now. So shooting guard, at the top here you got DeRozan in the revenge game. He's going to be facing his former team, the Raptors. 7,800. You could definitely go to DeRozan today. I think I would play DeRozan over Jamal Murray, and I would play DeRozan over like De'Aaron Fox, who's similarly priced to him, but not going to be a guy that I force into my lineups today. It's because I'm going to be trying to force in Harden, which is not going to allow me to be able to get a ton of DeRozan in my lineups. Probably going to be going cheap a lot at shooting guard. I think you can play Rivers here, who's a good play. I think you can play Forbes here, who is also a good option. Gary Harris, depending on what his minutes limit is, 4,800 is way too cheap for Gary Harris if he's not going to be really limited. His first game back from injury, he played 20 minutes. I expect he probably plays about 23 to 24 minutes, but you never know. They could say that they're not going to limit him. If he's not going to be limited, Gary Harris at 4,800, probably one of the best plays on the slate, but I do expect him to remain on a minutes limit, so probably going to be a guy we have to avoid. But Bryn Forbes, you can play here at 4,400, who I do like. I know Derek White's had some big games lately. He's been getting consistent minutes, 28 to 30 minutes pretty much on a nightly basis. He's 4,700. His price tag has started to catch up a bit. I think I would rather play Forbes for a little bit cheaper, but with the way Derek White's been playing lately, with it being a short slate, not a ton of value, you could definitely go to Derek White. On Yahoo, though, he's a little bit priced up. He's $16 over here. You could get Rivers for $4 cheaper. If you find $2, you could get up to Fred VanVleet. Bryn Forbes is $4 cheaper. Don't see myself playing a ton of Derek White over on Yahoo. But on DraftKings, don't mind him at 4,700 as another value play we could consider. But moving on to small forward, KD and Kawhi, two guys at the top here. KD, 9,200 against the Rockets. Kawhi in the revenge game going back to San Antonio facing the Spurs. He is 8,800. Right now we have Kyle Lowry doubtful, not expected to play for the Raptors today. With Kawhi's price tag dropping, I think he's a pretty good play here, factoring in the narrative as well. Makes Kawhi a very good tournament play. I think his upside is a little bit higher since you factor in the narrative. Kawhi did not like playing for the Spurs. I expect him to have a big game here going back to San Antonio. We know we're going to get from Kawhi 35 to 37 minutes if it's a competitive game. Without Lowry on the floor, he's going to take a ton of shots. He scored a career high in points in that last game, 45 points. Only put up 53 fantasy points, but was still very efficient, still scored very well in that game. Took 22 shots, shot 72% from the field, got 6 rebounds along with those 45 points. I'd expect probably if I had to project Kawhi here, I'd probably project him for about 50 fantasy points. And he could obviously go way more than that. Plus, you factor in the revenge game. Kawhi is definitely a tournament play I want to have some exposure to. I expect him to be pretty popular today because of the revenge game. So if you want to go contrarian and play Kevin Durant for $400 more, I do not mind that at all. Obviously, KD has a lot of upside as well. Even though he's been struggling lately, KD still has massive upside here. And since he is very similarly priced to Kawhi, and Kawhi might be a little bit more popular, don't mind playing KD. If I was playing one lineup, though, I think I would rather go with Kawhi. Just love the narrative here. Obviously, this is something that a lot of people are going to be talking about today. Kawhi going back to San Antonio. I feel like a big game's coming for Kawhi tonight. But let's talk about some other small forwards. So really, at the top of this position, I'm either going to be trying to play Kawhi, fit in DeRozan or KD. If I can't go to those guys, I'm probably just going to try and go cheap. There's a value play I like here. Davis Bertans is only 3,800. I think he is a really good value play on this slate. His minimum price over on Yahoo, he's a power forward. He's definitely a core play for me over there as well. We saw Bertans really benefit last game from Rudy Gay being out. Played 31 minutes and put up 27 DraftKings points. Even though he did not start, even though Jakob Poeltl got the start, we still got nice minutes out of Bertans, 31 minutes off the bench. He's going to probably play 30-plus minutes again. Rudy Gay is doubtful, not expected to play. So if we're going to get 30-plus minutes out of Bertans on a short slate with not a ton of value that I love, I think he is one of the better value options with how cheap he is. Playing Bertans allows you to fit in Harden and Kawhi, which I probably am going to want to do today. So I like him quite a bit on DraftKings. Obviously like him a lot on Yahoo as well at minimum price. Probably one of the top values, at least in my opinion. And then you have like PJ Tucker, who you could consider just because he's going to play a ton of minutes. Bertans might have a little bit more upside than PJ Tucker, but I would definitely feel safer projecting PJ Tucker for more minutes than Bertans. So for that reason, you could definitely go to Tucker at 4,200. Danny Green, revenge game for him as well at 4K, but I think I'd rather play Bertans, rather get up to Tucker. If I was playing a lot of lineups, I'd have a little bit of exposure to Danny Green, but nothing more than that. If I was playing one lineup, Danny Green would not make the cut. So let's go ahead and move on to power forward now. So at the top of this position, you have LaMarcus Aldridge with a really nice price tag today of 7,400. I know he was pretty cheap or underpriced in his last game. I think he absolutely went off, or he's went off the last two games, putting up over 50 DraftKings points in two straight games, 52 against the Clippers and 55 against the Celtics. LMA's been playing better as of late. I don't love the matchup with the Spurs. Just how this slate breaks down, I don't see myself playing a ton of him, because if we look at the guys in his price range, you have DeRozan for a little bit more. I think I'd play Aldridge over Murray, and I'd play Aldridge over Fox, but if I could find the $400, I would probably try and get up to DeRozan. So don't see myself playing a ton of LaMarcus Aldridge. He's not going to be a guy that I prioritize today, but if I can find a way to fit him in, I do like LMA here just with how cheap he is. Don't love the matchup, but his price tag, pretty nice at 7,400. But the guy that stands out to me at power forward, at least on DraftKings, is Draymond Green. He's only 5,900. And that just feels insanely cheap for Draymond Green. I've been playing this dude pretty much every slate, and it obviously has not worked out. Draymond Green's really been struggling lately. In 3 of his last 4 games, he's scored less than 28 fantasy points, so has not been very good, but still a guy that has a ton of upside. He's going to play big minutes if the game's competitive. We're going to get mid-30s, 36-ish minutes out of Draymond Green if this game against the Rockets is competitive, which it should be. So I think he is a good sort of mid-tier play. This just feels like too cheap of a price tag. Draymond Green legit has 45 to 50 point upside, even though he hasn't shown it as of late. The ceiling is still there for Draymond Green. Still has triple-double upside. So I like him quite a bit on DraftKings. Over on Yahoo, he's power forward eligible, and he's $29. I think he's a fine play over there. I'm probably going to be playing a lot of Bertans at power forward on Yahoo, so won't be playing a ton of Draymond Green, or at least won't be prioritizing him. But in lineups where I have my forward spot open and Draymond Green fits, I'll play him in a few lineups over on Yahoo. But with power forward and center eligibility on DraftKings and only being 5,900, I think he's a really good play over here. But that's probably it for power forward, besides the guys I've already talked about. So moving on to center now, we have Nikola Jokic at 9,800 on DraftKings. Facing the Kings, obviously a great matchup for Jokic. The Kings have been one of the worst defensive teams this year. Really struggle to defend centers. They're a team that plays very fast. This is a great spot for Jokic. He put up 40 DraftKings points in only 23 minutes against the Kings earlier this year. Not sure whether he got in foul trouble or injury, or if that game just blew out. Not sure why Jokic only played 23 minutes. But if this game's competitive today, you would expect about 34 to 36 minutes out of Jokic. Should totally be able to dominate this Kings team. At 9,800 though on DraftKings, it's very hard to prioritize Jokic. But over on Yahoo is a totally different story. Jokic is only $44 over here. He's cheaper than a lot of the guys I've talked about. He's cheaper than Kawhi. He's cheaper than KD. He's only $1 more than Steph Curry. I think Jokic is probably a guy that I'm going to be playing a lot of over on Yahoo, especially because the center position's pretty weak. There are really only about 4 or 5 plays. Like, none of these min-price plays, besides Pirtle if he starts again, are really viable. You have Ibaka, Cauley-Stein, Aldridge, Capella, and Jokic. Those are really your only options available today on Yahoo for center. I guess Pirtle if you do want to punt this position, but I see myself playing a lot of Jokic over here. Might be a little bit tougher on DraftKings because he's pretty expensive at 9,800, but if I can find a way to fit him in, I will try to do so. But center for me today, probably going to be playing some Draymond Green here because he's center eligible. Don't mind like Clint Capella at 6,900. That feels like a really good price for Clint Capella, especially for a guy that has 45 to 50 point upside. I do like Clint Capella at 6,900. I mentioned Aldridge. I think he's a good play as well. Draymond Green I like. But that's probably it for center. If you want to take a chance on Pirtle, he's only 3,500. He did start last game for Rudy Gay, but he only played 20 minutes. I don't expect him to play much more than that. I think a minute ceiling for Pirtle's probably around 23 to 24 minutes. He could obviously put up 25 fantasy points in 20 minutes. He's a pretty good point per minute player, but not a guy I feel like I have to have today. If he fits, he fits, but that's probably just nothing more than that. So I guess you could take a chance on him at 3,500 at center if you want to punt this position. But that's probably it for center, guys, and I think that's it for the video. So hopefully you guys did enjoy this video, and hopefully it did help you. If you enjoyed the video, just make sure you click that like button down below. Make sure you subscribe if you have not already. If you do have any questions, feel free to hit me up on Twitter at the DFS_GOAT, or you can leave any comments down below, and I will get back to you guys as soon as I can. But yeah, good luck tonight on this 3-game slate. We'll see you back on Friday with another NBA video. Peace.